Hi, welcome to the Public Relations Subcommittee of the Fitchburg Cultural Council. My name is Audrey Pendleton Chow. I am here as the co-chair of the Fitchburg Cultural Council, and I will be chairing this meeting. We are joined with Matt Brunn taking minutes for us, Tamar Russell Brown, our council's chairperson, and Claudia Stevens, our co-chair of the PR subcommittee. So I call this meeting to order at 4:39 p.m. on January 4th, 2021, first meeting of the year. And I'll pull up the agenda. Nate, can you give me hosting abilities? Thank you. All right, so this is our agenda. Do we have any announcements?
The book is out.
Very exciting.
That's a big announcement. It's exciting.
So we have all of our applications in. We have our program book put together by the Mass Cultural Council, and we will be printing it soon. And we thank FSU for printing it out for us. Anything else?
No, but we'll have dates probably tonight after I review everybody's schedule for the month. So we should have our dates for reviewing the grant applications. I hope tonight. I'm going to get that done after this meeting. So
yeah, I was going to mention that. I think we have 9 people who have responded. That includes Joe. So I think that's most people, except for Leona and Tamar, you haven't, but I know that, you'll go through it. 9, 10, 11, and then who else are we missing? But yeah, we have most people on here. Okay, moving along. January post. Does anyone have any posts that they want to get approved by the council?
no, but I had a question on this. I was under the impression that Casey was going to handle it, but certainly over the holiday break, I noticed that there wasn't anything scheduled. So I went through and just grabbed, especially from the Fitchburg Art Museum, a lot of the newsletters that come out with everyone's details. I went through and grabbed that to use as posts. So the posts that happened were from the museum. And everybody's newsletters go out around the beginning of the month. So Gala just went out. Fitchburg Cultural Alliance went out. So I would be happy to schedule all of that stuff that came out. Besides that, nothing is scheduled that I'm aware of, and I'm happy to help with that.
Yeah, I wonder if we can discuss reallocating types of posts, because I feel like it's mostly you and I, Tamar, making posts, and I know that it's a lot. Matt, would you be interested in taking on
It's a lot.
making more posts?
Helping to post, you mean?
Yeah, or creating contents to be posted on Facebook and Instagram.
Sure. It'll be easier once we have our grantees, obviously. Coming up with stuff in the interim, I think, will be challenging, but I had seen what Tamar had posted from the art museum, etc. So I think that would be good. Yeah, I'd be happy to assist with that.
Okay, so you could take on grantee related posts, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Is the idea that we would, I would come to you at this meeting in February, we'll have a list of what we're thinking of posting. Is that the idea? that we'll discuss them
Um,
before we post them, or would we just go for it?
I
As
think
of,
too much, guys. I think it's too much. It's a lot of work to manage, like scheduling, having everyone review things. I think it's too much to review in advance.
mhm.
Like I would say
Yeah.
if something comes in, just to get it up there and scheduled so that there's something coming out. That's my personal feeling.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think what we're currently doing is go ahead and just like post it and include it in the social media calendar of like when you're posting it, so we're not posting things at the same time.
Okay.
But if you want something to be reviewed, we're not like technically supposed to like message each other and be like, hey, like, what do you think about this? Like, is the wording right? Like, if that's the case, like this meeting is like the time to discuss it.
Right.
Which is weird because like, especially, you know, as Tamar mentioned, like, you know, things happen really fast in social media. Like you hear about
Right.
something, I just want to share it right now. So
Yeah.
I guess like, do your best with that if you feel like it needs to be shared immediately. But if you have things that you want to discuss with the committee.
Sure. And I think it's okay if, say, two of us are in touch. It's when you have a quorum, I think, where you get into violating the open meeting law. So I think I
What's your
can
thought?
ask you, I could ask you like, hey, can we, on the next meeting, can we talk about, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
having a rabies clinic or something like that? I think I can do that. I don't think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
violating anything.
Right.
Any term, like anything that's like just putting out there like information, is totally okay. And
Yeah.
then, but it's discussed during the meeting. But yeah, things like whether or not you can discuss between like 2 or 3 members, it's a little bit iffy. Tamar, what was your analysis from the open meeting training of like whether or not you're allowed to do that?
I mean, you could make a comment, you can't make a decision. That's kind of,
Yeah.
nothing can be decided outside of an open meeting. So, you know, we can bring everything here and hash it out publicly, but we couldn't like behind the scenes decide something. So
Right.
we couldn't go, I guess in our case, it's a little different with the social media because it's the social media is public. So we're not really deciding something, but we couldn't really send each other a whole calendar and say, hey guys, does this look good for February? I'm going to schedule it, or let me know if I should.
Right.
If we wanted to bring that to the group and say, you know, which is why I'm suggesting if, you know, if the museum has a list that came out, somebody gets a hold of it and has time to schedule it. If the university has anything scheduled in the culture, in the arts
Mhm.
field, even humanities, that stuff could just be scheduled
Mhm.
versus having to bring it here and discuss it, because obviously we're promoting whatever is happening.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of, the training was a little overwhelming, actually. It was a good training, but it was, I mean, it was government, you know, it's at the,
Yeah.
it was government level. So it was certainly a little more strict, I think, than
Yeah.
have to be, but we still have to be careful. So
Yep. No, that's always good.
Which, by the way, anyone can take the training. It's available, like if you want the link to find out how you can register for the next training, I can hook you up with that.
Yeah, I did it. I'm also on the board of trustees for the library, so I've gone through it before.
yeah, I was overwhelmed, Matt. Were you? I mean, maybe not, but I was like,
Well,
wow.
I knew some of it from, and I was on the school board before that for years. So I've gone through it a few times, but I was a newspaper reporter for a million years, so I covered a lot of these things. So you could, so we, you know, read up on those things. We would know if the boards we were covering were violating the letter or spirit of the law.
Yeah.
But the law keeps changing, which is why it's good to have new trainings, because it goes through phases.
Yeah, and it sounds like they run one almost every month, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think they had one coming
Yeah,
up.
I think so.
Great.
Yeah, I think the part where I get confused by is that we're not allowed to decide anything on, like, we can only decide on things during a meeting, but we can't vote because we're a subcommittee. So
Yeah.
like what deciding is considered as well.
Right.
Ethics is a real uh,
Pickle.
issue,
Right.
well, you really have to decide what, if you've been through the training, you know that. All had the training. You can't, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Now we can. It just,
Okay.
You went out a little bit, but yeah.
Okay. But the ethics training is an eye opener for anybody that comes on to any committee.
Yeah.
And once you've read that and processed it, most people keep it in the back of their head before they decide they're going to comment or make a decision on anything.
Yeah. Actually, Claudia, would you be interested in taking the open meeting law training since you are the co-chair of the subcommittee? That way, when Casey's unavailable, you would step in for running
I could possibly consider it.
this. I can send you the info. The training is over Zoom, so it would be kind of like this. And they take questions.
Yeah, she took a lot of my questions.
Yeah, me too.
I kept asking the same question over and over because I wanted to know if like all of our communication that's done in social media counts.
Oh, yeah.
If we're in a group, it counts. If it's a group, you know, if I ask Audrey a question about something like, hey, do we have this or do we have that? Or, you know, we have a phone conversation like Jim had a, you know, question today, their email is fine, you know, but if we had like a group message going, then we're deciding stuff, then
Right.
that doesn't work. So it's kind of interesting. So
Yeah.
I was like, you sure social media accounts? And she says, yes.
We can, however, if like two or three people like independently, like without being assigned like a sub project, they can like talk together and be like, hey, like I have an idea, like let's work on this, and then we'll present it to the group or something like that. But like as long as they're not like assigned to do that, then that is okay to be, you know, they can plan that out without like doing a whole open meeting. And then obviously they'll present their thing during a public meeting.
So for the January post, Audrey, so I'm happy to do, like I did the stuff from the museum, and other things that come over in my email that I'm, you know, even from the state level, we get their email with all the updates. Happy to take those and schedule those for January. And I would think maybe Matt, it would make sense if things that come from the university, feel free to
Mhm.
schedule them.
What's the, how far in advance are you posting things, Tamar?
I usually go from the day I'm you know, online out a week, and I usually schedule every other day or so. And I
Okay.
never end up filling up that much, you know, maybe a week or two.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, as for the university, we're sort of on hold right now just because of the pandemic. We don't have much in-person stuff happening. Although we'll have a bunch of events coming up for Black History Month. I haven't seen the final schedule, but there may be some things that would fall into the cultural arena in that.
Yeah, that would
session.
be great.
That would be great because you're already there and you know what's going on. So maybe that would be an easy way.
Yep.
I'm comfortable doing like infographic kind of posts. I was doing like sharing events and stuff, but that was kind of a lot, and I felt like infographic stuff was like a little bit more important. Which now that the grant season is over, maybe that's less relevant, but yeah.
So go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say on that note, I'm working on a post or like a image for a call for members. I would like to create the same post in multiple languages. So I'm trying to like find a list of like most spoken languages in Fitchburg so that we are reaching those people. And also we'll definitely need someone to spell check because I'm using Google Translate.
Which is
Um,
tricky.
Yeah. Does anyone know, like, so obviously Spanish.
Spanish, I would suggest maybe trying the school department offices. Maybe they would, because they must have to translate things to a variety of languages. They could probably tell you what the majority languages. Spanish would be the biggest one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
I would go into the school department to investigate. If you would
Okay.
like,
Sorry, say that again?
I would go into the school department and investigate for you. That's something I know who to get the information from and maybe pick their brains, get their recommendations, maybe in 4 different languages. I mean, we can't go too deep into languages because
Yeah.
Fitchburg is a very multicultural community. And I just think you just can't.
Can't
Yeah.
cover.
I would say like probably like 5 is probably like
All
the
right,
max number,
5.
maybe.
Okay.
But I would like my thought process was to post it as a image, and like, you know, you can kind of scroll to see the other languages as well. So it also like wouldn't be like too overwhelming, because the image itself would like all of them be in all in one language except for Fitchburg Cultural Council, which I don't know if it would be a good idea to translate Fitchburg Cultural Council to the language as well. But that would mean changing our logo.
Yeah, I think it depends. I don't think you need to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll get over to the school department and just have a conversation with a couple of people that do that now
Yeah.
and report back.
That would be wonderful. And if you can get their, send me their contact, I can, when I'm ready, I can send them the text and be like, hey, can you check this? Does this look good in those languages?
Yeah,
because I'm not sure who does their translating for them, but
yeah, someone must, right?
to Claudia's point, they'll know who does their translating for them.
right.
Maybe they'd be willing to volunteer to help.
I can't guarantee when I get over there, but I can certainly get more information than we're getting amongst us right now.
Yeah.
And I can, they'll send me in the right direction to whoever it is that can help us out.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
I would show you guys what I was working on, but I'm not happy with it. So there's no need to like approve it anyways.
I'm sure it's wonderful.
Thank you. All right. What's next? Oh, request for publicity form update. Matt.
I was not aware of an update that was needed. I shared it with the committee last time. Did it?
No.
Okay.
So does that mean that's like ready to go for when to like
I
send
think
it
so.
to?
I mean, I know we discussed it at the council meeting in December, and the crew seemed happy with where it was at. So I think it's ready to go. Obviously, we don't have anybody requesting publicity yet because we haven't approved anything, but I think we can consider that ready to disseminate.
Awesome.
We could technically have a series of posts that share that link.
Yeah. I haven't gone through the technical end of it to make sure that when someone hits submit, that it goes to a inbox that it goes to the FCC inbox. So maybe we can do some test runs on it.
Sure. Yeah.
So maybe if each of us want to try.
Submit.
Yeah, let's do some beta testing on it after the meeting and we can just make sure that it came through.
I can do that. Matt, so you're gonna be the one that's gonna be heading that, right?
Well, it's the way it works is, the way I hope it works is once you save the form, it triggers an email to the Gmail address.
Yeah, so how it works is I can log on the cultural council email and like say I want notifications to the cultural council email. But you can also log in under your Gmail and say that you want notifications sent to your inbox.
Okay.
But I can't say like go to Claudia's inbox, go to Tamar's inbox. Like each person, like if you want it to go to your inbox, you have to set out for yourself.
Oh, okay. I might need some help with that because I haven't done that level of playing around in Gmail. So I'd be happy to do that, of course, because I'm assuming that the press releases would be my creations in the first place.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, I can test for the cultural council email and send you a little tutorial if you need it.
Oh, that'd be great. All right.
And then maybe we can have a campaign around those. We could do like an infographic and then scheduled periodic posts with the link.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, not whatever their events are, whatever. I'll add it to our calendars,
Mhm.
to our public calendar.
I'll warn too that it hasn't happened to me lately, but as I noted when this was in creation, it was based on a form that we used here, and I would occasionally get like international vendors like wanting to sell like shampoo or something.
mhm.
And like why, like they thought like we would just help them do this. Not to like students because they were looking to, you know, it had nothing to do with the university, but they just thought, well, you'll help us do this. Like, that's not what we do. We might get the occasional random person in there, but I don't think it'll be too bad.
Yeah. I can create a short link for the publicity request form,
Okay.
and we can start including that link in our posts and in all the calendar events and stuff like that.
Perfect.
Saying like, if you would like your event publicized by us, fill out this form.
Mhm.
Short link.
And I did receive Tamar the book, so thank you.
Thank
It
you.
reminded me of last year, and I'll have to work on this tomorrow. There's no pagination in this. So I had to go in and add a footer with page numbers, and I created an index so we could get to, so that'll take me a little bit of time to do. I'll try to get it done tomorrow so that I can get this printed, but
Thank you.
I think without a page indicator, it's kind of awful.
Yeah.
I mean, each individual thing, I'll say page 1 of 6, page 2 of 6, but then it's after that, after page 6, it's page 1 of 7, and then it's page 1 of 3, and whatever. So it takes a while.
Gosh, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. That's fantastic. Yeah, next, I talked to Veronica, our program officer, and she said that they're working on a new system for next year. They're not going to be using the same thing. So
Okay.
that might mean that our program book next year will look a little bit different, which I was going to send her like some feedback of like, hey, I remember from last year, this was a little bit confusing. Would be great if this happened, like this was put on the top.
Yeah.
If you have any feedback and concerning that kind of stuff, send it to Mass Cultural Council. Like, I think she said like around like March or February is a good time to send that feedback as they're like developing the new system.
Okay, yeah, that would be good. I mean, because everyone must deal with the same thing. It's just tricky.
Yeah.
There's so much information in here. It can be daunting.
Yeah. My thing was like the program name is like on the second page
Right.
But then like, it's just like, you just have to circle everywhere to figure out like what you're talking about, put all that important information on the first page of it.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
thought the footer, especially when we did meet, it made it go a little bit faster. We could at least all
Oh
know
yeah.
we were on page 68 when we adjourned that first meeting kind of thing.
So
So I'll
wait,
just
did you
remember
do that
how I
last
did all
time
that.
too?
Huh?
Did you do that last time too?
I did.
Wow.
In this very room that I'm sitting in now, and I realized there's no pagination on this. So
Awesome. Thank you so much.
that killed a few hours, but I forget how to do it. So it'll be a little bit less time this time, but we'll make it work. I'll see if I can find last year's, but I know that's what we did.
Is the request for publicity form, is that in our Google Drive?
He sent it through email.
Yeah, I'm summoning it right now. Okay, so I go to settings.
And during the meeting, backing up to the January post on the agenda,
Mhm.
message from Joe that we don't have to have things approved among ourselves. So if one of us wants to schedule some things and somebody else wants to write some other things and schedule them, we don't need to have a formal sign off on those things on the social media side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So only if like if we want feedback, right?
Yeah, there's no rule around this though, is what I guess the point is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what's the, is it Fitchburg?
Uh,
Everything's coming up. I'm getting on my Zooms, but I don't email this address very much, so I don't know.
Fitchburg.mcc@gmail. So for the short link, I'm going to use tinyurl because you can customize it. And so tinyurl.com/publicity request, maybe? Does that sound good?
Sure. All right, so I've added Fitchburg Cultural Council. I already had added them as an editor of the request for publicity. Should I add you, Audrey, and Tamar, and Claudia?
Sure.
So Audrey at Curious Escape Room, plural?
I'll set up mine because my email's technically not a Gmail. So I have a separate Gmail one. I'll just put that on there.
Yeah, I don't use Gmail either.
Well, let me see what happens. Well, I'll send this to you, Tamar, at Sitka, and see if what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a way that you can link your non-Gmail address to make it a Gmail address. I just need to figure that out.
Okay.
Play around with that.
So yeah, Fitchburg.mcc@gmail is a
Yeah,
editor of this,
excellent.
which I
And
think means we can figure out a way to just share it. Yeah, and I've added it. I've changed it to have it collect email addresses for people to fill this out. But that's what we'll play with it for, and we'll see what happens.
Shared with me. I see it now.
Yeah, I've got it too. Very cool. You can fill it right out right there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Matt.
No, my pleasure.
Okay, cool. I got tinyurl.com/FCC publicity request approved to use that.
Oh, nice.
That is available. So I guess we can use that.
Can you read that back to me? Oh, you
I
did.
put it
Never
in
mind.
the chat.
It's in the chat.
Yep. Done. All right, what else? What's next on our agenda?
You have discussing a Google group.
Oh, yes. So Veronica suggested that, you know, because we've been having trouble with the newsletter situation, what we can do is we can create Google groups in which we do not have to like get approval to add someone on there, but we can create a newsletter list through that, and then we send it to that newsletter Google group email address. So it looks like we're sending it to one person, but we're actually sending it to everyone that is in that Google group. So that's a way that we can have a, you know, set up a newsletter situation without buying a domain. But that was also like next on the thing of like what we came up with in terms of buying a domain and the cost of that and stuff.
I don't know that I have an opinion on this
Yeah.
because we own the Fitchburg Open Studios domain. I mean, we don't officially yet because I haven't put that on the agenda and run that through our voting system. But we will own that and that website and that MailChimp account and that Gmail account. So technically that could be used
Mhm.
if you wanted to use that.
I mean, but we would also be messaging people about grant season has started and like non-open studio stuff, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I'm not suggesting buying another domain. That's,
Oh, okay.
you know, because the council's going to have to own this one, and it's a lot of stuff to keep track of going forward. You have to keep
Mhm.
logins everywhere, and that's just my personal opinion. But you know,
I agree with your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then that's like too many emails.
Yeah, well,
there
too
is there it's
much.
hard for new people to catch up and realize what's what and what's where. And then if you lose the
Mm,
email attached to something, and then you know, it's just creates this web of a mess.
Yeah.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I don't understand Google, nor do I like Google, but what I'm understanding Veronica is suggesting is that a Google group is basically something within the Google platform that allows us to send everyone an email.
Yeah,
It's a newsletter.
yeah. So I've been contemplating starting one for just the council members because it gets really confusing trying to find certain emails. Like for example, if I'm looking for an email that like Matt sent me something, if I search like when did I reach out to Matt, it's going to show me every time that I've sent out an email to the council because it's always included in there. But
Yeah.
with a Google group email, it would say, you know, something like FCC current members at googlegroups.com is the one person, but then also Matt replied. And I'm like, oh, there we go. That's the one I was looking for. So I'm thinking about starting one for within our council just to make me stop going crazy. But with for a newsletter, yeah, it would just be sending it out to all the people of that newsletter. They don't have to interact with it like a group. It would just look like that we're just sending it to one email address.
I don't have a feeling either way, really. Thoughts, guys?
Well, I like the idea. I haven't experimented with what that email address would be, but maybe that's something for the following.
So it's creating a completely new email address, or it's actually staying within our same Gmail address that we currently have?
It's creating a totally new email address, but it would say like fitchburg.mcc@gmail.com sends an email to FCC newsletter at google-groups.com. And then, you know, all the people who are on that newsletter will receive that in their inbox.
And so how would that get checked? That would still get checked from our same Gmail account?
Yeah. I would show an example from my personal inbox, but I don't really want to do that.
I wouldn't on public TV.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what?
So the purpose of this would be for communicating with the public at large, the grantees, past grantees, future grantees. Is that what your thought process is?
It's literally starting it's literally for like a newsletter to send to a lot of people all at once. But instead of like putting in individual email addresses on there, it's just gonna say that it's being sent to one email address, and that and if those people are in that group, which we can manually add on there, or they can request to be added into that group, they will receive that email. There's like more that can go on, there's more involved with it, but that would be like what I would use it for, I think.
So what do we need to send? How often would we be sending quote unquote newsletters? And what is the purpose? Like,
I was thinking more for like when we have like events or like important dates to let people know about it. Just like, you know, I'm thinking about like how in October we really want to send more than, you know, emails to more than like 30 people, but like Gmail was not letting us do that. But with Google Groups, we would have been able to.
I don't know. I hate Google personally.
I know.
Sorry. Is Google, are you listening?
Oh, they're
We're on
always
Zoom,
listening.
so maybe not. If we were on Google Meets, then definitely.
They should make better friends with Mac. I think that's the thing. It would be simpler for creative people like me.
Oh, really? I didn't know that it doesn't talk with Mac very well.
The whole infrastructure, like a Macintosh infrastructure, is so much easier to use than a PC infrastructure. From a drag and drop, very easy. Google, you're like in, you have to get in this, I don't know, it's more of a web.
Okay, so here's a Google group that I had started called FCC-current members at googlegroups.com. Right now it just has myself on there, but I can add more people. And so it just looks like that I just sent it to that one email address, and then I replied back, you know, reply back testing. And then now it says that me and Audrey has spoken on there. So that way I know that like, oh, that's the email that Audrey responded to, rather than like, this is the email that includes Claudia, Matt, and Tamar, like everyone on here, but even though they didn't respond, it's still showing up. So it just looks like a simple email address. Only members of that group can email that address. Random people, like if they are not part of that group, it will just like be sent back to them. It won't work. But it's just kind of like a way to send out an email to a lot of people at once.
Claudia, Matt.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you're sending out, let's say, 200 emails,
Mhm.
how many emails, Audrey, would the council be sending? I just said 200. How many in actuality? How many emails would that be?
Well, I think when we were trying to promote some of our events in October, I think I wanted to send it to like 200 people that have gone to our events and interacted with us previously.
Okay.
But like email addresses, but in terms of like frequency of like, this is not a proposal to start a newsletter. It is a proposal to create a email list via Google Groups.
Okay.
One thing that
So-
might be tricky is that if someone replies to that email, like if they reply all, like everyone is going to see it, rather than just that one, just us.
Well, and then we also have to be mindful about the aforementioned open meeting issues that, anything we're talking about in an official channel is discoverable anyway. I know you're not talking about using this for that. It's a different application, but
You got echoey on my end. Can you explain that again?
I'll get closer. I'll get closer.
You sound like you're in
yeah.
a well.
I feel like that sometimes. I think we also have to be mindful that this would be subject to open records, review
yeah.
too, probably. So
Oh, definitely.
I'm still thinking about. I know the newsletter you invoked; those are a lot of work.
Oh
The
yeah.
newsletters. So I'm hung up more on that piece of it than the mass media aspect of it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm just thinking that it's a easy way if we need to send a mass email to be able to send it that way. But yeah, definitely putting together newsletters, regular newsletters is a lot of work. And that is, I'm not ready for that, at least.
I would rather do a newsletter than have a Google email group, but that's because I just hate Google. Did I say that?
Well, I mean,
Tamara, where do you stand on Google? Let's get into
I'm
that.
sorry, what? Do you not
You're
like,
being
do you
coy.
like
You're being
Google?
very
Do you not
coy
like
about this.
scale 1 to 10? All right, so we only have
I
to
only
use less-
heard you say it once.
No, I mean, yeah, Tamar, if you want to start a newsletter, you can, but as we mentioned, we can't really do it through MailChimp using our current Gmail address, or any free email address. So it would have to be a domain email address to use MailChimp or something like that. So this is an alternative.
So should we revisit this question if we decide we want to do a newsletter?
You just
If you
read
make-
my mind,
Sure.
Matt. You just read my mind.
I do
Because you
think
make a really
it
good
is
point,
gonna be-
Audrey, about the fact that we can't use these other clients without an address like this. 'Cause that is a very
Yeah.
important point. But
it's like one way that's around it, like one way around it of like without being able to use MailChimp or anything like that, we can send out a mass email being like, hey, our program books are in, we're going to start the grant review process, or like if we want to do something a little bit like less elaborate as of right now, if we just want to send out like an email to a lot of people, this is a good way to do it.
no, I mean, and you're right, because not everybody is on our Facebook page who is interested in what we're doing. Not everybody who applies is necessarily, even if we did a press release about it, isn't necessarily going to see it if it runs on page 4 of the paper. But once a grantee, again, just not to be hyper-focused on the grant thing, but it's obviously a big project of the coming several weeks. But a grant applicant, I assume there's communication with them anyway, that they know that their thing's going to be reviewed and all that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm too tired right now. I can't. Yeah.
They must know, because they've shown up at meetings to be there to speak on behalf of their applications.
Yeah, I mean, the Google group could be like something like newsletter at, like, so it's very like explicit, like don't email this if you have questions.
Right.
But they can also reply to a single person, and they reply singly to fitchburg.mcc@gmail, who sent the original email, then they're going to get just us. So then they'll know that's our email address.
All right, well, I'll look into it some more on my end, just to think about what the applications could be.
We will table that.
And I think MailChimp changed their rules because Fitchburg Open Studios is a Gmail and the MailChimp is associated with a Gmail. There is a domain that's owned, but it has nothing to do with email.
Mm.
So I'm kind of wondering, what happened in a year with MailChimp, because it used to be that we could send from a Gmail. So
It's a legal thing. There was like a law that was passed
Yeah.
is like an anti-spamming law. So that it's not just MailChimp, it's like with any of these other email newsletter programs. Virtual Zoom backgrounds. I've got to create some new Zoom backgrounds for Casey and Claudia, and I guess for you, Matt. But they currently have our current grants, our past grant season dates. Should we change it back to September 1st, or should we just like not write the date on there?
I think you should use since we all need to grow the group, maybe we use it as a pitch. Get involved locally or something and just skip the link, have the website and the Gmail, and then say get involved with arts and culture in Fitchburg or something, maybe like a little pitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so instead of the deadline and application, it'll just say something like get involved with the council.
Yep, I would love that.
Yeah, I like that.
We've had representatives from Fitchburg High School on the council.
Claudia, do you know anybody who might be interested?
I would go straight to the art department. So
Say that
I
again?
will,
Okay,
if you would like.
Sure.
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna talk to schools anyways.
Yeah. The last student we had, his name was Matt, and he was just a wonderful addition to the council. So I'm sure we could, well, I shouldn't say, I'll encourage my suggestion to myself and the art teacher, and I'm sure that they will come up with a volunteer.
Okay.
It's a nice addition.
Yeah, it would be. Or if any of the art teachers want to get involved, I'm sure they're super busy and this is a difficult year, but
Yeah,
Okay, I will do both.
stick around. Yeah.
thank you. So all that we have left is new email signature, which is something that I suggested, but also can also just be decided on our own too. It's just really long right now, and I don't know who to talk to of whether or not we actually need to have the city hall address on there in our current signature. But
I would keep it, Audrey. We're part of
yeah,
the, yeah. We got to have some address or some information.
Yes, yes.
but it doesn't like go to, I mean, what are they gonna do with that?
Sort of like a formal, it's just a formal, like that's who we are. It lends some formality to who we are versus,
I agree.
a hodgepodge group of the community, like we're actually associated with the town.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, that's fair.
And of course, we'll have to update the address soon, I think, right? Aren't they in Main Street again?
Oh, good point. Good point. We'll have to change the address.
If they're ready for visitors there. I think they were starting last month, though, right? I haven't been inside the building yet.
My suggestion would be putting our website right under here, getting rid of the calendar stuff because that's already on our website. And then just doing FB group.
Get rid of all the grant cycle stuff.
IG.
Not important right now. That'll have to get added later.
Mhm.
And it should say on the 3rd Tuesday of the month. Generally. What's the new address, Matt?
Hmm. Oh, it's 700 something Main Street, I think.
Is it official? Everyone's in town now on Main?
I'm gonna make sure. I'm looking at the city's website right now.
I know they were moving.
Yep, on their city's website, it says 718 Main Street.
Yay.
781.
718, 718.
That's exciting. Main Street.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. No, go away.
Yeah, I told you it's Google.
Yep, and on their hours and directions page, they're directing people to Main Street.
Oh, that's great news.
That's exciting.
So something like this.
Yeah, I do think you need our website address from the city. Is it there? Is it a link?
Yeah,
That thing, yeah.
I think our website is certainly very important.
And then if you guys saw in the chat, Nate, I presume, helpfully pointed out that City Hall is still closed to the public, but their employees are in there. But in terms of directing correspondence to the council to us, I think 718 Main Street is still safe.
That's exciting.
If you want to add in there about our meetings, you can say that the council meets virtually or meets once a month in a virtual format, implying that they're not supposed to go to City Hall on the 3rd Tuesday.
Oh, good point. Good point.
So wait, do we want to move this back at the bottom then?
I don't have a feeling one way or the other.
Yeah.
I like it better on the top. If we're gonna have it there. I guess, I don't know. Does this look good? Okay, I will
Yeah.
save this.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the last thing was just, this is something that we can just think about for next time, considering we don't have time for this, but I would like to suggest a new Facebook group name that is more universal, something like discussing culture in Fitchburg, or like culture in Fitchburg, because that way, or like arts and culture in Fitchburg. That way, like, it will target like more artists and people like to get involved with it. It's not just the Cultural Council. It will obviously say that it is maintained by the Fitchburg Cultural Council, but I think that will widen the audience.
I kind of disagree. I think it's our problem if the community doesn't know who we are. Like,
But I feel like we're just like doing the same thing as our page. It's just like posting on our page and then posting it on the group. Like, there's very little interaction from other people.
But I think, again, maybe that's partly our job to work on getting everyone to engage with us. You know, like it's also hard to know in Fitchburg who's who, you know,
Yeah.
which organization is which.
Like the Alliance versus the council, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, we're going to have more organizations now. We've got the stewards, like their title, and then we'll have the new building behind the art museum.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got the new, I'm actually blanking on their name, the new group that came out of the stewards. Leandra's in the group. Help me with the name.
Oh, arts,
The Arts Collective, the Fitchburg Arts Collective.
collective, yeah.
Or is it I think it's Fitchburg Arts Collective. Yeah. I don't
And
know.
I think it would encourage more of those people to post in that group because it's just arts and culture in general.
I have a comment
Mhm.
on all of this. I really think once we get into probably into July and people are healthier, people are able to interact, I think we're going to have a much better chance of,
Interactions
yes,
and posts.
this,
Yeah,
this is
There'll be
like,
a lot more events to post about and stuff.
Yeah.
you know, I'm not making up this word, but it's been on the news. This is the dark winter
Yeah.
for all of us. And you know, we're about to turn the corner and the lights are going to come on and, you know, it's going to be sunshine. And I think we should go back to that discussion in a few more months. And I think we'll get fruition out of it. Satisfaction. Everybody's out there, but I don't think anything's going to move. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, well, to that point, should we engage in discussions with some of these other groups that we would want to be helping us populate this kind of thing? I know that means surrendering some autonomy as well, but,
Wait, say that again?
well, I was wondering if we should try to engage some of these other groups to discuss having one umbrella Facebook group that we would all, because if we took, everybody is tending their proverbial garden, and if people knew, like, well, geez, I didn't realize this was happening here too, and I think we're all trying it, the same thing is to really celebrate and promote all that is going on, or especially all that will be going on in a few months, as Claudia said, once things are hopefully more normalized. Maybe we want to make sure there's an appetite for these other groups to feed our thing, especially if there's a way we can make it possible for them to do it independently.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know if there is a database of quote unquote cultural people in Fitchburg.
Well, they tend to be the same group that's involved in a lot of things. Like they're
Yeah.
involved in review, they're in the art stewards. There's like pockets of like little individual scenes, like, you know, and they kind of, some of them cross over and some of them don't. You know,
Right.
then the museum pocket, then there's the Alliance. It seems like among the people running all of them, there's a definite crossover of
Right. And I realize too that unlike some of them, we are different in that we're a municipal entity with different kind of rules than just some coalition of artists who want to boost each other. Not to diminish coalitions of artists, but I guess got to be mindful of that too, that
we're town.
yeah, we're different. We're
Yeah,
governed by things that they're not governed by, so we got to be careful.
I was just thinking more from a branding perspective. That's all I meant.
Yeah, yeah.
Because even the Fitchburg Open Studios, like it'll have its own identity, but it'll need to be tied into this identity. And so that's all I was thinking. If you change the name and have like another name, even if it says in the small letters that it's associated with the council, it won't be clear because people don't read the fine print usually unless they're real readers.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was
But
just
I
thinking,
think we would get more engagement
Yeah.
because because then like people will post on there or be watching on there to learn about all the events, all the cultural things, all arts and science things that are going on. gives more of a action for the members of the group or potential members of the group, rather than it's just a place to get information about the cultural council, which they can do from our Facebook page, and we will be like cross posting anyways.
Right. And of course, we can demonstrate to them that it's going to be that by if we are populating it with these other organizations, events that have nothing to do with us beyond a shared cultural backbone. Maybe that'll help drive traffic there anyway, once they know. Maybe once we've demonstrated that, look, we're going to promote your stuff too. You know, there's nothing to do with the council, but we want the world to know about it. Maybe that'll be a self-propelling, self-fulfilling prophecy, you know?
Yeah.
Again, it's tricky right now because it's a much quieter time and so much is virtual and it ain't the same. But Claudia said in July it's going to be great, so that's good to know. It'll all be over.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe just think about that over the next few months.
Yeah, no, I think it's a compelling idea.
Yeah.
And all the conversations that we had today are certainly worthwhile. And it's if everybody's opinions and suggestions are validated today, and we're just going to carry them along until that sun shines.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hands into the sun.
Yep.
All right. So assignments, do we have any assignments?
I think if we can test out the request for publicity would be great.
Mhm.
And if you could send me some info, Audrey, on how to tell a request for publicity to how I can channel it to me, that would be great.
Yep. Tamar is going to continue doing newsletter posts. Matt will take over for grantee related posts. I'll update all the event stuff on our Google Calendar with the tinyurl.com/FCC publicity request link.
I'll take care of the school department and a student rep,
Awesome.
maybe a art teacher rep.
And the translation, who can translate.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's at the school department. So.
Awesome. All right. Should we adjourn?
Sure. When are we regrouping? So we're regrouping on February 1st. Is that correct, or is that a holiday? I don't think that's no, MLK Day is the 18th. So
Yeah.
we're regrouping the 1st.
Yep, it works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, February 1st will be our next meeting for the PR subcommittee. And we will decide, Tamar, you're going to decide on the our grantee dates tonight and send out an email.
Tonight's my FCC night.
Awesome. Keep in mind, we have to have, you need the two-day bump time, if not more, since they're doing this move and such.
Found out the hard way.
Yeah, and bear in mind too, the book, it's gonna take me, I mean, I'll do it tomorrow, but it's gonna, or tonight, but it's gonna take me, I can't promise that they'll print this the second I send it to our internal print shop, so.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Yeah, how many, actually, that's probably good for Tamar to know, like, when would the panel books be ready?
I haven't talked to them. I got permission from the university to do it, but I haven't talked to the print people. Last time it was like a few days. It wasn't complicated. And
Okay.
since with thanks to Co, we have a long history of doing it. So when I approached about it, they knew exactly what I was talking about, and so it was pretty fast to turn around. And we're only talking, I think, what, 20? Is that how many we do? It's not like a huge
We only need one for each of us and one for the city, the mayor, I believe. So
Like 15.
that would probably be enough.
There
It shouldn't take him too long.
11 no, 12 members, including Joe. So,
Okay.
City, if we get one extra just in case.
Yeah.
For our team.
Yeah, because they're good size, as you all have seen them.
So and then we have to, Jim was, I think, going to pick them up and distribute them.
Right.
I'll have to let Jim know. So the earliest would probably be Thursday. I'm gonna guess.
That's the very, very earliest. But I will call them in the morning. They're not there at this hour, but I'll call in the morning and find out what the timetable would be.
So I should probably start us for like next week.
That would be safest, yeah. I mean, theoretically, we could start reviewing it with the PDF that
That's true.
you have, but
oh yeah.
That's true.
it's kind of nice to have the thing to.
It is. I like to make notes and highlight and.
It'll definitely be easier, and if we do it in like a few days, I'm sure most people wouldn't have gone through it at all yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. Fair enough.
So I will report back. So in the interest of not violating quorums, to whom should I just contact you, Tamar, after I find out what the schedule is?
Yeah, sure. You can call me, email, whatever.
Right. Yeah, I know we're not deciding anything, but just to
I think
keep it
scheduling
clean.
that's not a
A voting matter.
yeah, that's not a voting matter.
All right.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Oh, my pleasure. Happy to help.
Yes, thank you. All right. I don't know if we need to vote for adjourning the meeting or not, but
Yes.
We can't, right? We would have to. We're kind
yeah,
of.
I don't know. I don't know, Tamar.
It can't hurt. So I'll make a motion to adjourn at 5:45 p.m.
I second it.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourns at 5:45.
All right. Nice to